because civilizations do not appear overnight, but one did. 6,000 years ago, in the fertile lands between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, something happened that breaks the rules of evolution. In what is today modern Iraq, the Sumerian civilization appeared. But suddenly one day there were only dust and nomadic tribes, massive stone temples called ziggurats, complex mathematics, a legal system, schools, medicine, and the first written language in human history. Historians have a word for this. They call it the Sumerian miracle. Because no one can explain it, how does a society jump from stone tools to performing eye surgery in what looks like a single lifetime? The Sumerians themselves did not take credit. They left behind tens of thousands of clay tablets. And on those tablets, and they didn't write, "We were smart." They wrote, "We were taught." They described a time before the Great Flood, when the black-headed people, as they called themselves, lived alongside their masters. They called these masters the Anunnaki. The word literally translates to those who from heaven to earth came. But these were not described as spirits. The Sumerians wrote about physical beings, flesh and blood, giants who walked among men, who ate, who slept, and who wielded weapons of terrifying power. Look at the Sumerian king list. It begins with a strange sentence. After the kingship descended from heaven, the kingship was in Eridu. It then lists kings who ruled for tens of thousands of years. Historians call this myth, but what if it isn't? What if the Sumerians were not describing humans at all? If we study their cylinder seals, we see impossible things. Flying machines, beings descending from the sky, and knowledge of the solar system that modern science would not confirm for another 5,000 years. The Sumerians were the first to divide the day into 24 hours, the hour into 60 minutes. They gave us the wheel, the plow, the sail. Every pillar of modern civilization starts with them, but the question remains. If human evolution is slow, why did Sumer explode with technology out of nowhere? Unless they were not alone, unless someone intervened. And to find out who, we must follow a single, shiny, metal, gold. Why would an advanced civilization cross the stars just to mine a soft yellow metal? We value gold because it is rare, because it is beautiful. But to a spacefaring civilization, gold is not decoration, it is survival. According to ancient texts and later translations, the Anunnaki came from a planet called Nibiru, a massive world, on a long elliptical orbit that passes our sun once every 3,600 years. The texts say Nibiru was dying. Its atmosphere was thinning. Its heat was leaking into space. Their scientists found a solution: gold. If gold is crushed into microscopic particles and suspended in an atmosphere, it reflects radiation and traps heat. This is not science fiction. NASA uses gold on satellites and space visors today for the exact same reason. The Anunnaki needed enormous quantities of it, and their surveys found a planet rich in gold veins. Earth, hundreds of thousands of years ago. The first Anunnaki expedition arrived. They established Eridu, what the texts call Earth Station 1, but the gold was not on the surface. It was deep underground, especially in southern Africa. Even today there are ancient mines in that region, dating back tens of thousands of years. So who was mining them, Stone Age humans or someone else? The Sumerian texts say the Anunnaki workers, called the Agigi, toiled in these mines for thousands of years, until they rebelled. They burned their tools, and surrounded the palace of their commander Enlil. They said no more. The Anunnaki faced extinction. They needed the gold, but they had no workers. That is when Enki, their chief scientist, made a proposal. He said, "There is a primitive creature roaming this planet. Let us place our mark upon him, so he may carry the load." He was talking about us. Texts describe a place called the House of Life. A laboratory. Enki and his half-sister Ninma were the geneticists. They did not create life from nothing. They used genetic engineering. They took the DNA of a primitive ape-like creature and mixed it with their own. The first experiments failed. The tablets describe horrific deformities. Beings that could not breathe. Beings that could not stand. But eventually, they succeeded. They created a hybrid. Smart enough to work, simple enough to obey. They called him Adamu, he who is of the earth. The Bible calls him Adam. Even today, the symbol of medicine is strange. Two serpents twisting around a staff. The caduceus, this symbol belongs to Enki. And it is not just snakes. It is the double helix of DNA. Thousands of years before the microscope, mainstream science admits there is a problem: the missing link. A sudden, unexplained jump in human brain size and capability. Evolution does not work like that. Nature takes millions of years. We did it, almost overnight. Maybe the missing link is not missing, maybe it was engineered. But the story does not end there. The first humans could not reproduce until Enki secretly changed them. And that decision might started a war among the gods. The noise of humanity began to grow. The texts say Enlil wanted to wipe us out. At the same time, Nibiru was approaching. Its gravity would disturb Earth's crust. The ice caps would melt, a global flood. Enlil decided to let it happen, to erase the experiment, but Enki disobeyed. He warned one man, Utnapishtim. The Bible calls him Noah. He gave him instructions, not to build a boat, but a sealed submersible vessel to save the DNA of life on Earth. The flood stories exist in every culture, because something like this really happened. When the waters receded, the Anunnaki returned, but this time they changed their strategy. They would not rule directly. They would rule through kings. The texts say they left, returned to the stars, but did they? Many believe ancient royal bloodlines carry their DNA, the divine right to rule. But there is a darker possibility. What if they never left? What if they are still watching, waiting? We are now entering the age of artificial intelligence. Genetic engineering, space colonization. We are becoming like them. Are we reaching the end of the experiment or the next phase? The Sumerians vanished, but their warning remains. We are not alone, and we never were. Look at the stars tonight. Is something looking back? History is written by the victors, but the truth is written in our DNA. We are the children of the stars, and one day the parents may come home.